One sec, guys. Sorry about that. So many cat ECUs going on in my room right now, and it's making me quite sad. But tied up now 1-1. We are in game number 3 of the semifinals. The winner of this will go on to fight against Byleth, B-Y-L-E-T-H, in the grand finals of the Starbow Cup number 7. I'm Rifkin, you're watching on Base Trade TV, and spawning in the top left corner of the map, from the clan EST, it is Luckygnom. And his opponent in the upper right, he's blue, he's Terran, it is Dirtybag. Now, Dirtybag's actually been doing some pretty neat stuff that last game. I mean, game 1, he was really aggressive. Whether it paid off or not, it's questionable because he ended up losing the game. But in game number 2, he kind of displayed a lot of the same tactics, using some really advanced, like, it's so silly to call it advanced, but his drop tactics were pretty cool that game, really getting on top of Luckygnom's defenses, and just able to strangle him out in the end. We'll see if Luckygnom can pull it together, though. He's shown all day today he's a pretty good player, and not that I've got particular affinity for him or Dirtybag, we just love to see who ends up making it to the finals. One of the most key things worth noting too, guys, is in a TVT, it's the one time you can't cry about race. Because anything you can do, your opponent can do as well, or vice versa. I'm just trying to think, like, we haven't seen any air battles really come out. And the Banshees don't get a lot of usage in Starbow, because they're, like you said before, they're not really as potent as they used to be. So yeah, that's why you don't really see anyone like rush at those Banshees. I mean, like, let's be honest, a lot of TVTs you watch at the pro circuit right now, how many of them start off with like one player going for Banshee, if not both players? So, I don't know, we haven't really got to see much Banshee usage out of anything, and I really think, again, a big part of that isn't that the ground units are much stronger, it's just the Banshees were toned down to the point where they're not really going to win you the game outright. But perhaps with some clever tactics, someone could try and incorporate something like that. But I would imagine it's going to be that very same opening out of both players. Really sticking with that mech sort of build that's been working out for them throughout the course of the day. Which has, of course, shuffled them here towards the finals. Or not the finals, the semifinals. We're getting close to the finals, but not quite there yet. Yep, double factories. Would not at all be surprised if it's double tech labs. Again, I'm not sure that I entirely love the idea of the Widow Mine, or sorry, not Widow Mine, so Spider Mines coming out as early as they do, but if they can zone out tanks, I guess, or at least buy you time for that push, then go for it. But realistically, as stated before, because both players will probably have vultures around the map, both players will have no way to really use the Spider Mines against one another, it doesn't make the most sense to go for it immediately. But we do have quicker ion thrusters coming to Luckygnom, and no second factories. He is going to go for that command center. So if he makes it orbital a little bit quicker, he's going to have less units. His production is not going to be that which can match Dirtybag. And Dirtybag is actually not going to go for Spider Mines. He's not going to go for Zone Ion Thrusters just yet. Just getting Goliaths out for the time being. And if you recall, that Goliath push last game was quite scary to the point where it almost ended the game. So perhaps thinking, alright, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That push worked really well for me. I will try it once more. Although it could just be defensively getting a Goliath. To get excited about this, but one Goliath, one Marine. Will he stop for the barracks? Looks like he will stop and shoot the barracks a little bit. Again, for a player who's going mech, this can be really frustrating to lose your barracks early on. If you do, it means that you're not going to be able to build additional factories, much less advance forward your tech, but not that this will go down anytime soon. Can he get this? He should be able to get this out way before it starts burning. I mean, Goliaths are great, but they're not exactly sorry, what's that? Whoa, they're not exactly building terror downers. But, oh, not quite able to sneak past this. Almost gets the SCV. Goliath's a little bit late to respond. Will deny, or not deny, but delay the command center going down. And loses a vulture for it, but gets 2 SCVs, so kind of worth it in the end. Sorry, I don't know why I had a cough attack there. Just drank a ton of water, feel much better immediately. But still producing vultures for the time being. Does have to start looking at advanced tech. He's got siege tanks on the way, or siege mode rather on the way, so he knows the siege tanks will be necessary eventually. And I love this. I can't get over it. I think it's so cool that Goliaths come out like unique. Each a beautiful snowflake, different than the rest. Well, except for these two. Go away, you two. Now, it is a little unfortunate. Vultures, of course, in this game, they do a lot of damage to light units, or not light units, rather small designated units, but not so much to medium or big. So that's why you see the vulture grenades really, they tickle Goliaths at best. And Goliaths are a great way to hold this off. Their autocannons, it's not about doing a lot of damage, but it's about attacking quickly. And as we see, the vultures are driven back almost immediately. Back at home, there's still this very annoying barracks floating about. No anti-air means Luckygnom's got no way to really deal with it, and this means Dirtybag doesn't have to spend time blowing out scans, trying to get an extra orbital up. I mean, he sees everything his opponent's doing. Meanwhile, Dirtybag comfortably on 2 bases, so is Luckygnom. Dirtybag's of course behind by a couple workers, but realistically, not that big of a deal. If you upgrade your orbital, you can do that instant call down an SCV thing to make up for it. It's not for free, of course, because it costs 50 minerals and 25 energy, but yeah, still, it's an instant SCV. It'd be nice if it didn't take supply. That would make it like OP like a mule, but Scan going down, sees the army composition, and sees that there are in fact tanks already out for his opponent too, so knows that he's really got to get on the ball as far as getting his own production up. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that barracks. So starting to put those spider mines down, trying to get a bit of that map control. A little bit of a role reversal from game number 1 between these two in this best of 3, but one thing I do kind of look at Luckygnom's base, or Luckygnom's base, is like, oh man, where is the production? Like, 2 factories will carry you for so long, but if your opponent's already got more than you, and he knows that his opponent has more than him, he's seen it, he's scanned it, then he's got to know he's got to step it up. He's got to change the game somehow, some way. A couple more spider mines going to be laid down. Of course, now a lot's going to get done unless units actually walk over them, but shouldn't really happen with the Goliath count. Again, they attack quick enough that the spider mines won't really have time to arm. Maybe it's going to scan here. He sees 3 dropships. He sees all these tanks. He's got to know something may be coming now. Putting down a ring of turrets is kind of out of the question right now. He doesn't have the minerals or the extra income to throw that down, so Goliath's being repositioned for now. They're not exactly going to tear down a dropship. He's really going to have to worry about these ground forces. I mean, if that drop actually goes off, this could be very much problematic, but scanning around, looking for spider mines, making sure he's not going to drop into them. That'd actually be terrible. You like gear up this awesome doom drop and land on like 11 spider mines. Oh man, that's a rage quit moment is what that is. Well, just spreading out spider mines to block the bases. Again, these will not pick off SCVs by any means, but you cannot build on top of them, so buys you a little bit of time. Dropships loaded up with combination Goliaths and siege tanks. Another big drop gonna go off. Dirtybag made this work really well last time, and he's definitely trying to capitalize on it. I do fear Luckygnom may not have enough to deal with this initially, but since the units do come out kind of piecemeal, a little bit at a time. Okay, he scouts this too, so he 100% confirms this is coming. For Dirtybag to still follow through this, though, would be really curious to me. Going for the natural might be a better choice. Yes, there's some spider mines there, but there's a lot less defenses overall. Yeah, dropships trying to find a way in, but that's not going to happen every time. So we got scans from both players going off like crazy. One to look for the dropships, the others to look for a safe spot to land with the dropships. Goes right on top of the tanks. A couple spider mines are in fact going to arm and take out a couple of these siege tanks right away, but splash damage is actually going to hurt Luckygnom a tad here. These dropships should be able to get away. There's no Viking to give chase, unfortunately, so at the cost of a couple of tanks. Not the worst trade for Dirtybag, but not exactly anything. He didn't get anything done with that is the problem. This is where I imagine TVT again. Like, you don't want to invest in a ton of Vikings, but if you're going mech versus mech, it might not be too bad to invest in 1 or 2 to prevent exactly that from happening. Like, if one Viking had picked off a medevac, that could have been 2 less tanks, 4 less Goliaths type thing, but unfortunately, that's not how it ended up working out. Charm boosters gonna increase the range of the Goliath's ranged air attack only by 3, so kind of makes them snipers in that regard, I guess. This wasn't normally 8. Oh no, that's with the booster upgrade, I think. Alright, well, these medevacs, or not medevacs, dropships are going to get this full cargo load. Unfortunately, Luckygnom's a little bit out of position for this. Trying to throw down some spider mines to give him a little bit of an extra edge in this fight. But this is a lot of the army here from Dirtybag. And rather than saying I'm going to defend this base, he decides to back on out of this. Expanding towards the south might be more worth it in the end, but this is not a fight he can really afford to take. Now without throwing away a lot of his army, Dirtybag sniping off Goliaths for free, getting the supply depots like nobody's business. And a couple of vultures looked like they tried to go for a counterattack, but unfortunately could not quite weasel their way into the mineral line. Luckygnom's managed to kill a couple of workers throughout the course of this game, but I mean, realistically, these army fights have where it's been going down, and the siege tanks have just been a little bit too much for Luckygnom. His siege tank count was always behind that of his opponents, and it's not so desperate or dire that he's out of the game. I mean, look at the resources lost. It's not too bad. But the problem is, when your opponent's got a lot more tanks than you, how do you push into that, especially when they're already sieged? So it's 15 tanks to 7, just for a little bit of context. I do like the idea of trying to drop on top of them, but as we saw, the splash damage didn't quite cut it. Trying to secure his own third. Saw the Widow Mine, or the Spider Mine has to take care of it real quick. Keep saying Widow Mines, trying my darndest not to, and I'm sorry guys. But looks like the base to the south will end up being the one that's opted to be taken. Says, alright, that one at the top is not safe. He dropped it too easily, and he's still got tanks there, so let's expand somewhere else. But unfortunately, Dirtybag sees this with a Marine, and while there's no dropships up here to pick up and go, he could pull these back, repair them, and go for another attack. You gotta remember, that's a very expensive amount of units there that you can just repair instead of replace. Three dropships once more, 4 Goliaths, 2 tanks. Pretty strong combination by the looks of it. He knew about this base, and there's only one tank to defend. This is gonna hurt. Luckygnom is gonna absolutely take some hits here. And right now, rather than defend, his best bet might be to just go, because he knows his opponent's got units to the north. There's siege tanks and Goliaths coming down here to the south. Dirtybag should have a smaller army supply at home to defend with. But whether that's going to be actually the case or not, nah, he's not going to push. He's going to come back home and defend. Nope, saying, alright, screw it. I know your army's split up. He should be able to take a pretty good fight, in my opinion, but of course a lot of it comes down to those siege tanks, where they siege, how fast they siege. It looks like Dirtybag's already on top of this. If Luckygnom had scanned into this, maybe he would have gone to the natural instead, but unfortunately, with this siege tank count, he's not breaking this 4th base anytime soon. Or 3rd base, I should say, sorry. Yeah, Goliaths and tanks split all over the map. There's just no way, no how. Luckygnom is just trying to find a way in. He's got upgrades going for him in a big margin, but like I said before, like if you don't have the units for those upgrades to benefit, what good does that do, right? But gonna try and get on top of this army, unloading a little bit here. Loses a full medevac or dropship. That is super unfortunate, but we'll break these lines by the looks of it, albeit just barely. But breaking the lines to the north simply alone will not cut it. He's still got this large army to worry about. This small sort of segmented bit towards the southern and western hemisphere. It's really unfortunate because Dirtybag's had his army split so hardcore, but it's never been to the point where Luckygnom's been able to overpower him. And again, a lot of this comes back to he's got 4 factories of production. It's not exactly a lot. Although I guess hand in hand with that is the economy's in the gutter. It's been in the gutter for a while, trying to get these drops up, trying to establish a 3rd base. I gotta say, Dirtybag's looking pretty good right now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We'll get a full unload off here and should be able to take out most of this with the Goliaths on the front lines as well. This is going to be Luckygnom's army going to Kaputskis. Now, he does have a little bit more behind this, but the initial tanks going down is what really stings in this fight. More tanks rushing to the front lines to defend, and Goliath's just going to back up for now. Ooh, a siege tank with 2 HP. So there's a big thing to consider here that came into effect in that fight. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the uphill advantage, the defender's advantage in Starbow is huge. You've got a 50% chance to miss shooting uphill, and we saw that come into effect with a couple of those volleys, but turning his efforts towards the natural base. He's got a pretty good siege tank spot here. Continue to move forward. He's got a couple more inside these medevacs. Or not medevacs. Oh, I keep calling units medevacs and spider mines and widow mines and dropships. But anyways, takes control of the bridge. Chokes out the reinforcements from Luckygnom, which are over here to the north defending that base. Unfortunately for him, he's going to lose his natural in the process of this. And there's just nothing he can do about it. If he brings things back from the north, then Dirtybag just goes around and attacks the north. He's just got too much control of this game. Too much power in his pocket. And while this might not end the game right here, this is going to again strike another deadly blow to Luckygnom, who's actually down by resources in a huge way. Goliath's still cleaning up what they can, where they can. Scans the top of the ramp to see if it's safe to move up, and it's really not. Not with how low these Goliaths are. Half of these are going to die from like one siege tank splash shot, but erecting his own missile turrets, I do find this a bit cute. I do find this a bit curious. And then one missile turret will just straight up burn down. Towards the lower right, tanks being dropped. Looks like an SCV as well. I'm going to clear this up. There we go, start building a command center. So taking a 4th base, finally getting that down into Locky Key. Luckygnom currently mining off of 1.5 bases. His main's almost mined out, and it's got really inefficient mining going on. And that natural base is brand new, or not natural, 3rd base is brand new and shiny, but he's got no natural base at the moment. Siege tank's going to take a couple hits from both sides. So one siege tank on the high ground here is really nicely positioned, but again, this is like Dirtybag just laying back. He's got such a huge supply lead, not just in workers, but army supply as well. The only thing he's really lacking is upgrades, but given enough time, he can make that up very easily. Another large drop has been loaded up here, guys. Combination of Goliaths, combination of siege tanks. There's simply not enough here to defend. 3 siege tanks already in siege mode won't cut it. Might lose a dropship or 2, if that, but yeah, this base has been taken out. So now stuck on barely 1 base mining. 3 mineral patches, currently. Has restored order to his natural, but not by much, and not for very long. Dirtybag's going to be able to start throwing away these units too. Like that Doom drop, that means nothing to him if he can just remake it in a moment. One HP for the win. Yeah, this is looking to be Dirtybag's game to lose at this point. But Luckygnom maybe catches him off guard, takes a couple of good engagements, starts turning this around, but it is a fairly large maybe. We'll see how that ends up going or not. I love the consistent use of drops too. I mean, typically you would find those to be ineffective, but he's been able to skirt past the turrets. There's actually no turrets currently in the main. These 5 dropships running towards the main actually could be quite devastating, followed up by just like a natural thrust move, I guess. I know this is a little inappropriate, but literally just thrust into the natural after all the entire army's brought towards the main might be his best course of action. Still taking a couple of unnecessary losses here, and then we're around the middle of the map. We'll actually snipe off this command center. In the end, good will win. I will come back stronger. Good game. I will get to know Luckygnom's a good sport about things.